Have you ever stopped to ask yourself a really simple question? How do you know that what you know is actually true? Well, we're about to break down this incredible framework that sorts basically everything you've ever learned into just three paths. And honestly, it might just change how you think about knowledge itself. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to kick things off with that huge question. How do we know anything? Then we'll dive into the three core paths: what our senses tell us, what we figure out by connecting the dots, and what we learn from other people. By the end of this, you'll have a whole new way to map out your own understanding of the world. So let's really get into it. I want you to think of something you believe is 100% true. Could be super simple, like the sky is blue, or something complex, maybe a historical fact. Got it? Okay, now ask yourself, how did you actually come to know that? I mean, this is a puzzle that philosophers have been chewing on for literally thousands of years. And the solution we're looking at today comes from ancient Indian philosophy. It's a system for categorizing the valid ways we can gain knowledge. They're called pramanas, and we're about to unpack the three big ones. All right, path number one. This is the most direct, the most fundamental way we know anything, and that's through our senses. It's called pratyaksha, which basically means direct perception. This is our anchor in reality. It's ground zero. And listen, this isn't just some vague feeling. Pratyaksha is a specific process. It's the knowledge you get from the immediate contact between your senses and the world. It's the bitter taste of coffee, the bright sight of the color red, the warm feeling of the sun on your skin. It's pure, unfiltered data coming straight to you. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. We usually talk about having 5 senses, right? Well, this system actually identifies 6. So, what's the mysterious 6th sense? So, the first 5, totally familiar, but this framework adds the mind, or manas, as an internal sense organ. And when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. You don't see happiness or touch sadness. You perceive those internal states with your mind. The mind also kind of acts like a central processor, pulling together all the data from our other senses to make sense of it all. But, we don't just passively soak up information from our senses like a sponge, do we? Nope. We actively think about it. We connect the dots, and we draw conclusions that go way beyond what we can directly see or hear. This brings us to our second path, the incredible power of inference, also known as anumana. This classic line is the perfect example of inference in action. Imagine you're looking at a hill in the distance. You don't see any flames, not a single one. But you do see a big plume of smoke rising into the sky. Based on everything you've ever experienced, your mind makes a logical leap. Smoke means fire. So there must be a fire on that hill. And here's the absolute key to all of this. You can't infer something from thin air. Inference, or anumana, always has to start with a piece of evidence you directly perceive. The sight of the smoke, that's your perception, your pratyaksha, is the essential building block you need to infer the fire. It's a pretty simple 3-step process that our brains do constantly without us even realizing it. Step 1, you perceive evidence. You see dark clouds rolling in. Step 2, you recall an association. Your memory kicks in and says, hey, dark clouds usually mean rain. And step 3, you conclude something new. It's going to rain, even though not a single drop has fallen yet. Okay, but what about all the stuff we know that we've never seen with our own eyes or figured out for ourselves? I mean, think about history or science or what's happening on the other side of the planet right now. That leads us to our third and absolutely massive path to knowledge, the words of others, or shabda. Shabda, or verbal testimony, probably accounts for the vast, vast majority of what we know. It's everything you've ever learned from a teacher, read in a book, seen on the news, or heard in a conversation. It's the collected wisdom of all of humanity, passed down to us through words. Now, this testimony can be direct, like you're sitting in a lecture, hearing someone speak. Or it can be indirect, like you reading this slide right now. What's cool is that in this framework, reading is seen as a kind of lightning-fast inference. Your mind sees the letters, infers the sounds they make, and from there understands the meaning the author wanted to convey. Of course, this path to knowledge comes with a huge catch, a giant condition. The source has to be reliable. We can't just go around believing everything we hear or read, right? So how do we know if a source is actually trustworthy? This framework actually gives us a few tests. First, the speaker has to be trying to tell the truth, and the words themselves have to be logical. If someone says the water is on fire, your brain immediately flags that as a logical contradiction. It fails the test. The message also has to make sense for the situation it's in. So there you have it, our three paths: direct perception, logical inference, and trustworthy testimony. Let's put this all together now and see how it creates this amazing, complete framework for understanding how we know what we know. This table just lays it all out so clearly. See how it builds? We start with the foundation, the bedrock of direct experience through our senses. From there, we use our logic to connect evidence and infer new things. And finally, we expand our world exponentially by accepting information from reliable sources. Each path rests on the one before it, creating the entire world of knowledge we live in. And that leaves us with one final thought, a question for you to take with you. Take a moment and really think about your deepest beliefs. How much of what you truly know comes directly from your own senses versus how much comes from what you've figured out or what you've simply been told by others? The answer? Well, it just might surprise you.